Commission has released its primary findings on Malawi's 2025 general polls. The mission notes that the campaign period was largely peaceful and inclusive, with fundamental political rights respected. However, it highlighted some of concerns, including opposition mistrust of the Malawi Electoral Commission, unequal access to resources, and the lack of campaign finance regulation, which favored wealthier candidates. The observers also pointed to disproportionate media coverage given to the Malawi Congress Party and the use of resources in campaigning by incumbent President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera and government officials. Overall, while polling day itself went smoothly, the report underscores ongoing challenges in ensuring a fully level playing field. Tonight, we speak to the Center for Human Rights Education, Advice and Assistance. It also has been observing the elections on behalf of Malawian citizens. We're joined now by Victor Mhango, who's with the organization, to talk about this. A very good evening to you, Mr. Mhango, and thank you so much for speaking to us. Just tell us a little bit more about the role that you played in monitoring the elections and what your own personal observations were, particularly on the ground.
Yeah, thank you very much for bringing me here. Yeah, as CHREAA, we are part of the observer team from Malawi. That's our local observers. Yeah, if I can take you from the beginning, there were mistrust. Many people are not trusting the Malawi Electoral Commission that they are going to handle impartial election. Basically, they had their own worries. They said that the chairperson of the Malawi Electoral Commission is related to one political party, Malawi Congress Party, and also the use of the machines. Some people, they said that they have bought rigging machines, so they were not comfortable with the Malawi Electoral Commission, to the extent that many people actually did not register for vote, because they were already disappointed. They were thinking that maybe the vote is going to be rigged. So a population of 22 million, and they make projected about 11 million or so people that are going to vote, but only 7 million registered to vote, and out of that, it is only 5 million they are going to vote. They have voted, which means that a number of people have not voted.
Now, I want to talk about what we mentioned, some of the observer missions highlighted, particularly in this case. We're talking about the European Union Election Observer Mission. Now, you spoke about the fears of the vote being rigged. Does that present a validation of those sentiments if the observer mission talks about unequal access to resources, lack of campaign finance and regulations which favored wealthier candidates, and government officials having disproportionate media coverage? Is that seen as an unfair advantage, leverage for the governing party and also the strongest other party in the country?
Yes, that's unfair leverage. When we are talking of rigging of election, people, they think that elections are rigged at the polling date, but most of the times the elections are rigged pre the election date. You have mentioned of the media, more especially the Malawi Broadcasting Corporation. They were indeed biased towards the ruling party. They had special programs on election, actually praising the government of the day and demonizing the opposition leaders. And this has happened so many times. The government using the public resources for campaigns. We have seen for the first time that the ruling Malawi Congress Party, they were buying a lot of campaign materials and hiring so many vehicles in all their rallies using what we don't know, but we can describe that maybe they were using public resources as well. Even the members of cabinet, the ministers, they were seen each and every day on the road using the official cars, which is advantaging them and disadvantaging the oppositions. So there were so many people who were worthy distributing money to the candidates. So there were so many things that I think they were done in a wrong way. Actually, disadvantaging the poor and also advantaging the opposition party. Most of them they don't have resources.
And how did this translate into the number of people that ended up exercising their right to vote? You gave us the figures, about 5 million people who actually did cast their ballot. And were these issues that you're raising now some of the reasons for not participating for those who didn't?
Yes, I think most of them they were disappointed. During the registration period, most opposition leaders actually the way they were relating to their members, it was so sort of discouraging them that there will be a machine that the Malawi Electoral Commission are going to use it, and some people thought that if they are using the machine, maybe we have already lost an election. And most of the times in Malawi, people they say that a ruling party does not lose the election. Yeah, and also people maybe they were frustrated by the politicians' promises. They had high hope. I can describe the current government, the President CHREAA's government was highly favored by the people. They had all the political will, but unfortunately, maybe they lost it. So people were disappointed because you can even see from the stronghold, the central region, not many have voted despite registering. So many people were disappointed, and I think they have been voted apathy as well.
And I'd like to hear your assessment, given that some of the observer missions are already putting out their preliminary reports. As civil society, you are that all-important bridge between the government and the people, as in civilians. What has been your own independent view of not only how the Malawi Electoral Commission comported itself, but the process, the logistical challenges that were experienced? Did they deny Malawians overall their right to vote in some cases?
Yes, I know that some cases voting started very late, and you know for sure that maybe one or two people they were disappointed, and then they went home. They went home, they never came back. And I remember I voted in one of the prisons. We are supposed to start at 6 o'clock, but I think we were late by 15 or 20 minutes. But in some other areas, I think they were very late, 2 hours, still not starting voting. So many people, some of them, they could. We don't have the figures, but for sure, some of them maybe they were discouraged and they went back home. Yeah, this is possible.
And I want to talk now about the counting process. This is the stage where we're at, the results that have been announced so far, and the credibility and transparency that has led to the announcement of the preliminary results. Just share your views, please.
Yeah, let me say that I think the voting itself was peaceful. We've isolated maybe incidences that were also handled well by the security personnel. The counting is disappointing. The people who voted, as I've already indicated, 5,000 plus, but up to now, the votes that are coming in slowly. But we know it's the process. They want to make sure that each and every vote should be counted. And maybe sometimes there are some queries, so they want to resolve them before publishing the results. But we have seen an improvement lately. I think for sure by tomorrow we'll have the final results. Yeah, so far so good, despite the challenges that we saw earlier on.
And just as a final question, obviously, voting is not the final end when we talk about the democratic process, how all of these things are handled, who announces the result from whence, and the legal processes that would unfold should there be a challenge to those results, as we saw in 2019. What advice would you give not only to the MEC, to political parties and the incoming government as a civic organization?
Yes, I think so far Malawians are peaceful people. I believe that we have also credible institutions that handles the disputes. As I'm talking, we have the High Court of Malawi. They are designated judges to handle these election matters, and so far they have handled some of them. So I think I just need to advise Malawians that I think they should be cool. They should not. We are always known as peace-loving Malawians. So they should wait for the results to come, and if there are some disputes, they should wait for the credible institution to solve the disputes. I just need to pat them on their back. It was a tense process, but so far so good. We are happy that all the institutions are responding to issues in a quick manner. So far, they have handled several cases, so we are happy. And also, even in the Malawi Electoral Commission, we need to pat them on the back, despite all these rumors. But I think they have handled this election professionally.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your insights, the latest information out of Malawi from the elections. That's Victor Mhango, leader for the civic organization Center for Human Rights Education, Advice and Assistance in Malawi. And that brings the time to 18 minutes past 9.